but I mean, maybe we need.
Hey, careful,
don't
we're
know.
gonna go live here in a second.
I thought we were already.
Well, we're gonna be. I think we're live. I never know.
Do I
Yeah,
ever say anything? Well, yeah, I guess that maybe so.
Are we live? Stream is now live on custom show. Okay, so
Oh
let's
yeah,
see.
it already told me that on my screen. Whoops. I thought you knew that.
Well, that's good.
I thought I was the one not paying attention.
All right. Well, once again, we're starting this thing not knowing where we are or who we are.
It
But
doesn't matter. This is literally how we're going to do it every time now, even if we know what we're doing. We're not going to know what we're doing. They'll never know.
No, yeah, we are live. I'm looking at Twitter right now. Okay. So how you doing, everybody?
Welcome to the not so prepared house of static. That we should be called the apartment of static when we live stream because we're just not as prepared as a home.
Yeah. It's like sort of a little like a fort or like a little shed. Shed of static.
Yeah. I guess it's shed. I was gonna say something, but then I was like, it might sound racist to like
don't do
Indians.
That.
So, I was like, no, I didn't do it. Don't worry. And I have Native American in my blood, so I can not. I'm still not gonna say it, but
that's good.
That's why I started like hemming and humming because I was like, I'm not gonna say anything that anyone can take as me being racist.
Well, all right. So to avoid such things, we should say why we are streaming, right? Because so for those folks that have those 2 or 3 folks that have watched our show in the past, you'll know that we often will have pre-recorded episodes and put them up. But lately, we've been doing live streams more. One, because it's fun, and two, because we got a lot of stuff going on. So we got a lot of new songs coming out. So if to recap, if you're new here, most are if you're here. I
like new people. New people,
yeah, right. Good. Yeah. So Kilo and I, in addition to the many things that we do together, we started a record label a few months ago, and about a month ago, and we are releasing music for a number of artists on the label. One of them being Kilo. And then we've got Christian Cole, who we'll talk about in a minute. And we've got King Matt Black, who we streamed about last week when we released 2 weeks ago, when we released his single, Candles on a Streetlight.
Single with his own brand.
That's right. Yeah, we launched everything. We launched the whole King Matt Black brand and everything.
Yeah, and then he hacked which is still weird and creepy. And then he hacked our live stream.
I know, that was funny.
If you want to see it happen, just go.
Yeah, it's on. Yeah, I mean, these go, right now we're streaming on a bunch of different services, right? YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Facebook. I think that's it. And, or maybe another one. But anyway, the point is that on all of them, some version of the last live stream will be, available there for you to check out. So, all right, I'm just like going into our
it's all good. Here. This is what we do.
This is what we do. So anyway,
if you want to not look at our ugly faces and you want to still hear us talk, then you can get it wherever you get podcasts.
Yeah, but you not right now though. I mean, like it's not live.
Not right this second. I know, bro. Come on, someone's gonna watch this someday.
And I'm also still trying to figure out how to get the audio.
Oh, never mind. Don't listen to what I just said.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
Not at all.
It'll be all right. Anyway, the reason we're live streaming today, this evening, or night for me and evening for Kilo, is that because I'm in New York and Kilo's in LA. I don't know if you don't know who we are. I'm Bob Smith, also known as the Static Dive. This is Kilo House, also known as Kilo House. And we are musicians and producers and now record label owners. And tonight, in about 2 hours on the East Coast and in about 5 hours on the West Coast, right? Kilo's brand new song, The Paradox of Death.
All of our brand new songs. So I'm on it, Bob is on it, and Matt is on it as well.
Yeah. Well, it's Kilo's song in that you're the primary artist on it, and rightfully so. I mean, as far as writing and producing and everything else, it's definitely a Kilo song. But yeah, I'm on there, and King Matt Black is on there, and I love this song.
This is one of my favorite songs I've ever done.
Yeah, it's wonderful. It's called Paradox of Death, and it is it's just badass. It's a great tune. Got some Alan Watts in there, got some rocking guitars, got
It
some
has guitar in
big
it,
bass drops, hard style kick, bang in your face.
Kind of hard style kick.
Kind of
I mean, we thought it was back then, but the stuff we've been doing lately is even harder.
Back then was like 2 weeks ago. We thought like a month ago, we thought it was, but
but I mean, we've been kind of pushing the level of how crazy we make that kick at this point. And then my new song that comes out on my birthday in a few weeks is just stupid kick.
Yeah, we got there's a lot coming out. There's a lot of new music that we've been making. It's very exciting.
Yes.
And that our friends
of our usual listeners, that's why we have not been putting the other episodes that we've been recording out, because we have so much new shit happening that it's like, okay, well, let's put it out. Are we gonna live stream and put it out? I don't know. So it ends up being live stream. Next week we're live streaming with Christian Cole.
Yeah, next week. Yeah, we've got next week. We'll have 2 songs coming out on the 15th.
Oh, yeah.
Because I got a song coming out.
That's exciting to me.
Not on our label. I'm even though Gilo and I started a record label, I'm actually signed to a different record label, FBP Music in Frankfurt, Germany. And I'll be my song "Handle on the Sum" will be coming out next Friday. I'm very excited about that. Yeah. It's a sort of song. It's a song I originally wrote half of it about almost 30 years ago. I was like a kid. I was 21 years old. And then I 23 years old. And then I finished it a few months ago. And now, and then Kilo produced it and we're putting it out. It comes out next week. Very excited.
Yes.
But that's next week. This week, Paradox of Death.
Yeah, we'll just pretend that next week is not happening every time we live stream, because it's going to be another thing, another thing. We have so many things coming out, I can't even remember.
That's true.
And get a list earlier to make sure what songs are coming out when.
Yep. Yeah, we do. And
we're working on new songs like right this very moment on, I mean, I have my program still open. I was working on it right as I answered the Zoom call to do this.
That is a fun one, because that's Kilo and I are doing a remix for an artist. We could say who it is, right? There's a friend of mine, a singer. Her name is Liberty C, also known as Katja Cruz. She's a singer from Austria, and she's very cool and a very cool, great singer and a really cool person. And she did this it's a really beautiful jazz tune called "Queen of My Life." And when I heard it, and she sent it to me, I wrote about it on my blog, Static Dive. And then when I heard it, I was like, I think that Keel and I could turn that into a freaking banging house tune.
Yeah.
And that's where it's going. It's
honestly
very exciting.
Though, bro, whenever you did say you wanted to do it, I was like, yeah, man, cool. I didn't know how easy it was going to be to turn that kind of music into house, and you did it very efficiently. Like
I heard it before I started. I said, okay, I knew it's a slow jazz tune. I knew I could put a double time beat behind it and put some EDM bass on there, and that's what I did. And now Kilo is cutting it up and
fucking good.
Making it crazy. It's awesome.
What is super exciting about it to me, Bob, is like that. So before I got on here, I was so excited. I was going to tell Bob this, but then I was like, I got to tell him on the live stream. So I almost said it, then I come and tell Bob. So what's super dope, Bob, is when I pitched, I decided in the second drop to see what I could do with the saxophone. And when I pitched it up, it like gave me chills, because it's like the saxophone like works its way up. It's amazing.
That's awesome.
And what I was going to say as well is that saxophone is so well recorded that it doesn't sound at all different when it's pitched any which way. It sounds like a real saxophone. Perfect.
That's awesome. That's cool.
It's like my favorite sound I've ever had in my computer.
That's awesome.
It's amazing. It's so perfect.
And
I've already saved it.
And
as
it's a nice sax
sample.
solo too.
Yeah,
it's a nice playing.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can. I'm gonna look. I I don't know if I know who played sax on it. I might know.
It's so good.
Yeah, it's really very good. And of course, Katya is singing, and she's just a wonderful singer. It's a beautiful, very empowering kind of like really. It sounds sad at first, and then it becomes this really inspiring, like great sound. I love it, But anyway, again, that's not
so much stuff to talk about.
I know, right?
Oh, and for some odd reason, King Matt Black wanted his new song to come out like immediately.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That happened.
Yeah, that is that. I don't even know. Is that out now? I mean, we like.
I have no idea. I haven't looked.
We didn't even schedule a release date or anything. He said,
was like, upload this now. And I was like,
he said, here's a song. Here's the artwork. Put it up. Okay, whatever you say, boss. Although we're the bosses, but yet it doesn't feel like that. But anyway,
we did do some of the part.
Yes, we did. Yes, but it's just like with anything.
But it was like that. It was like, oh, cool. Like we gave him what we did to, and he was like, okay, now put it out. And we were like, what? So that's actually how the story went.
That's right.
But it does sound better the way you told it.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, we did the tracks, but it goes into the King Matt, abyss there until it comes back. So we don't know what's going to happen.
Exactly, and it is just that's all I can say about that.
It's a crazy ass song. It's cool.
Yeah.
And if you heard what it started as, you would not recognize. We start with an idea, and
Bob
then he goes and takes over.
Someday, maybe you'll hear what Bob gave him as an idea, and then you'll realize the fuckery has happened.
Yeah.
It doesn't even sound like it's a great song, though. It's such a good song, but it doesn't sound at all like what we were going to work on. And then he was like, and here's the album art. And here's the name, which doesn't make any fucking sense. And then there you go.
Always fresh, never frozen. That's the name of it.
Which doesn't make any sense with the album art or the music.
No sense whatsoever.
None whatsoever.
But
I'm sure in his brain it does make sense.
No, but you mentioned that I gave him a song idea, and then we should mention that because that's kind of, we have a process, whether it's me and Kilo or me and King Matt Black or all three of us together or Kilo and King Matt. So, and a lot of what we do is because I've for like, my entire adult life, which is a long time because I'm 52 years old. So like the last 30 years, I've basically just been obsessively writing and recording songs constantly. And 99% of them never go anywhere. For every 10 songs I write, I'll finish one. And then for every 10 that I finish, I might release one. So there's just there's this pile of hundreds of songs. And I'm not exaggerating. I mean, probably thousands of songs and song ideas. I drive Kilo crazy with them because I'll be like, hey, I found these 600 song ideas on my phone. Yeah, remember that? Great. I've got a SoundCloud playlist of 600 song ideas. And that's just the shit that was on my phone. So anyway, recently I pulled a bunch of stuff off my hard drive, stuff, real stuff, not off my phone, stuff I recorded tracks, on Pro Tools, over the years, dozens of them. And I gave a bunch. I gave some to Kilo, gave some to King Matt Black, and then these guys just go nuts with it and start cutting it up and rewriting it and, flipping things around, making them upside down. And it's awesome. I love it.
This one is all the way upside down so far that it's now right side too. But then it went upside down again.
Exactly.
So, because Bob sent that to like him, and then he sent it to me, and then I sent it to him, and then he sent it back saying, put it out. And then I was like, what did you do? This is true.
That is how we do it.
You can hear certain parts of me in it, but then all of the fuckery. And there is Bob in there, but I did not get to hear the original version exactly.
A little bit of piano in the background. That's me. You can hear that. That's about it.
And because so this whole album, Bob found that album and then he sent it to Matt and he was like, we should work on this together. So it's going to actually be a whole album. Yeah. We're all going to do this whole album together. But I did not know it was going to be this insane. I didn't know this is what we were going to do. Because it was like, what was it? I don't even know. Like, it was like a rock song or something. I don't even.
Well, it was sort of like an acoustic reggae song. It was like a bass boom, like a slow reggae
Right.
groove with like a backbeat organ playing and then some piano and then guitar. It's just not that at all anymore.
No, no. So
No.
it's probably going to be Matt's whole album itself because like this is very much mainly him, and
Mhm.
it's just like he took like a few parts of it and then was like, "Go fuck yourself" to the
Yeah,
rest of
exactly.
reality, and then this is what happened. So
Mhm.
you know, we're gonna have fun with that. I'm going to have fun. I mean, and that just shows our viewers out there or listeners, like if you want to be a producer or do crazy shit, you can. And
Mhm.
even if you're working from around the world, you know, like us three, or like working like with different DAWs or even different kinds of computers, it does none of this matters
All
because
right.
we can always audio is God, and you can just send audio, or you just bounce the
Yep.
fucking audio and send it, and
You
then you
know,
can work on it together. You know,
right. You know, it's funny you mentioned that because I was thinking about this just earlier today because uh because if folks don't know, I'm a writer. You know, that's what I do for a living. I write. I write about music and write about other things. And on my blog, and I do some other writing too. So anyway, there's this hip hop site that hires me to do some writing for them once in a while. And I was doing that today. And I was writing about which album was it? It was J-Lib. You ever heard of J-Lib? It was J Dilla and Madlib, you know, and so it was before Madlib did Mad Villainy with MF Doom. All right, he did
right?
J-Lib with J Dilla. So um I was writing about that and how that was like in like 1999 or 2000 when they started, and they released the album in like 2003. And then I think J-Lib died pretty quickly after that, which is really sad, of lupus. But anyway, that's a tangent. The point of it, of the story, is that um, they were like us, like, because like I said, we're Kilo and I are on opposite sides of the country, and if never even met in person. We're like best friends. We just do this though, and that's what they did when they did the J-Lib record. And but it was 2000, so the internet was just not what it is today. So they were like they would burn their shit to CDs, put them in the mail, and mail them to each other.
What?
That's why they started the project in 2000 and they didn't finish it until 2003 because they were
That's
sneaker pimping it back and
crazy.
forth. Yeah. So there you go.
That's insane.
I mean, I would have, because I'm a nerd, I would have found a way in 2000 to transfer the files over the internet. It would just take a long time. That's the problem. Back then, it
Right.
was the internet, the infrastructure of the internet was there already, but at home, people were dialing up. You know, people were using dial. I wasn't because I'm a nerd, but a lot of people were doing dial up and everything, and that's why you can't send a 50 meg file over a dial up. You know, and you can't send 150 meg
Let's
files.
just
That's for sure.
know that Y2K was a thing back then, and people
Mhm.
thought that the fucking world was going to end because
Mhm.
we were all going to not have computer or anything. And I was like,
I was a
cool.
professional IT guy then when
Yeah.
and during Y2K, and a lot of guys like me made a lot of money basically doing exactly like preparing for Y2K, like going in. So I would I worked for somebody else, but they would contract me out and they'd send me to different like factories and places and stuff, and I would just spend like weeks there updating all the computer systems to make them Y2K compliant. I did that for like a year.
So some stuff did happen when that happened.
Not really.
No, I
Not
didn't
really.
think.
No, the whole thing with Y2K was that the year, you know, when it switched to 2000, the fear was that all the old computer systems that mostly they dated back to the 70s and 80s only had a 2-digit year. So the world would end because everything would go to year zero. It was such a crazy paranoia.
So people just thought that suddenly it was going to go back to
Well,
when the Big Bang happened.
Well,
Like
they
just
no,
suddenly it's year zero again.
Well,
Like
Well, kind of. What everybody
existed.
thought was that the computer systems would think that and just stop working. And even in 2000, the world ran on computers. You know, everything was computerized. So
Right.
the idea that like every computer in the world stops working basically means society shuts down. So that's what everybody was afraid of. It just, I mean, it didn't happen. You could say that it didn't happen because people like me were like getting everything Y2K compliant. which probably is true to some degree, but also a
Right.
lot of it was just the hype. It was just paranoia. Everybody
Well,
was
dude,
crazy.
I got to eat like a whole closet full of Twix bars for like years to come because we literally stocked like every closet full of food.
Well,
Because
that's so funny.
I know, whatever.
What did I do?
Oklahoma.
And so what did I do on on New Year's Eve? So I did for the year before that, the whole year I was working all the time, updating everything. But on New Year's Eve that year, I went to a friend of mine had a camp, like a cabin on a lake in the woods there, and we all just
My
kind of
dog
went there.
just barked and scared
partied.
me really bad.
I hear him, yeah.
It
What's
scared
he-
me that time though. I assume there's a mailman somewhere
yeah,
on the premises.
That bastard.
Yeah.
No, man.
He's just like, I'm a real dog, so I have to bark every time UPS workers or anything are around. Bro, it's okay, man. It's okay, bro. He doesn't care. Anyways, continue. Anyways, this is
all
great.
right.
I love this conversation because I just have always wanted to ask someone like you about that because it's like I even stayed up that night like all excited for like Road Warrior times to happen. And
You were just a kid, man.
yeah,
I
I know.
mean,
They made me stay awake to see if the world ended.
so
I
you
think
would
I
have been,
remember.
what were you like 10? You're probably about 10 years old, 10 or 11 years old, something like that.
Well, yes, exactly.
You were born in 89, right?
No, 10.
What year were you born?
10. Yes, 10. 10.
You were born in 1989. You would have been 11 years
10.
old.
10 is the right
I
answer.
think 11 actually. 11.
11 is the right answer.
I was how old was I? 30, 31.
like
I was 30.
I just remember everyone just like fucking freaking the fuck out about it right up until the moment they realized how dumb they were and how
Yeah.
much extra stupid food they would have for the rest of their life.
I should explain, by the way, the people that don't normally watch, I'm obsessed with pistachios. I eat them all the time. So that's what I'm doing here because I have no couth. So on
No,
camera,
because this is our show.
there you go. All right. If I want to eat pistachios, damn it, I'll eat them.
Who cares?
Who cares?
Exactly. So anyways, more about music, I guess, since no one cares about Y2K anymore.
Yeah, right. Well, it was 22 years ago. So
Yeah, exactly.
So anyway, yes. So about music, Paradox of Death in 1 hour and 35 minutes on the East Coast. When we did this 2 weeks ago, when King Matt Black was coming out with a song, we played it on the air. And then he hacked us. And then
do we want to? Well, he is on this song. Do we want to try to do it anyways? I don't think he's watching this time. Honestly, I really don't think he's watching.
Let me see. I think I could do that, right?
I could text him and see if I think he's watching or not.
I don't know. Let me see. Hold on. Because of how I did this.
You get to watch our process.
Yeah. So how I did this last time is I hooked up my iPad to my audio interface because it's actually remarkably difficult to stream audio from your computer through Zoom. It's much harder than you think.
Y2K times.
Okay, this is doomed. We should have planned this ahead of time.
Okay.
My
let's
battery's dead on
pretend
my
we
iPad.
didn't talk about.
That will.
What are you talking about, Bob? I don't know. You'll just have to wait and listen to it in a few hours.
No, I'm gonna make it work.
Okay.
I want to make it work.
We're gonna make it work.
Talk about something while I make it work, Kilo.
What the fuck am I gonna do?
Dude,
drugs are
you talk
bad.
all the time. With the one time I say talk, then you're like,
I know, man. I know. That's how it goes, bro. Like when you're put on the spot, it's like being at a family reunion, right? And like you keep trying to talk over your family, but the moment like it's your turn to talk, like in front of people, you're like, what the fuck do I do?
That's so funny.
Like when it's like if you're giving a eulogy or something, you're like really good at talking any other time. But then you get up in front of people and you're like, they died and we're alive. The end. Paradox of death. What's
Paradox
up?
of Death.
Exactly.
How about that? Explain Paradox of Death. What does the title mean?
That's a good thing to talk about, Bob.
Thank you.
The paradox of death is what the Alan Watts is talking about in the song is like about how you kind of go through cycles of different lives. And so the paradox of death is the fact that like you you think you died. You did die, but also you didn't die, right? You think you are died.
Yeah.
This person with the silver teeth probably never going to do silver teeth again. You never know. But I mean, maybe I did in a past life. But like you think you died, right? But then you kind of carry on into this next lifespan.
Right. It's that kind of Buddhist idea that our consciousness, right, in this world is not our existence. We, the self is actually not the self. It's not who we are. We are actually part of the whole, and we exist eternally, and we continue on. And that, right, that's the idea.
Right. And I think that's a good thing to talk about. I've never heard it put that way, but you said like that we think our consciousness is our, us or whatever. Like,
right.
I mean, yes and no. Like it is us in our own brains. Our consciousness thinks that our consciousness is all that it is, right? But our subconscious is running most of this shit. So our conscious mind is kind of like the kid that you give a fishing pole to, or no, a fake steering wheel. That's a perfect example. And you're like, do you want to drive the car? And they're like, yeah. And then like, as you're going down the highway, they have their plastic steering wheel and they think they're driving the car. They're not driving the fucking car.
That's right.
Anyways, that's our conscious brain. Our conscious brain is not driving this car. And if it is, then you should be pumping your blood and stuff right now, or you're going to die right now.
Right.
So I would suggest stop listening to the show. Start focusing on the things that matter. Right.
There you go. Exactly. Oh, well, see, that's an interesting thing. So now we're getting crazy, right? So you're right.
Been crazy.
I know, but you rightfully point out like the fact that we don't have to consciously think about the things that actually keep us alive, right? And there is a part of the brain that does that. It's the cerebellum. It's the medulla. I don't know. I think it's a medulla. Anyway,
the limbic system.
Well, that's not the part of the brain that controls the heart rate and all that. That's
right.
That's the medulla. Yeah. That's the medulla, and it's like I think it's a small, about the bottom of your brain back here, I think. In any case, that you're right. It's not your conscious, but it does the most important things. And who knows? Maybe that's where the soul is. Maybe it's down.
Well, okay, let's talk about that though, because you just said something and I just said something, right? So you were pointing out stuff that we have to stay alive that kind of keeps us going. That's part of the subconscious brain, or the non, stuff we don't control. But there's also parts in the subconscious brain that control our emotions, and we don't even fucking know that we don't even have the liberty of the choice of our emotions, right? So that's what I was saying is the thing. The limbic system is the part of the brain that's like a shortcut on your computer or your web browser or anything like that tells you if you push this button, it'll take you directly to this thing. Well, we have a stupid thing sometimes called the limbic system that categorizes good and bad things happen. And so they make little shortcuts of like, I like this, I don't like that. So like, if you ever wonder like, why the fuck do I like, the smell of burnt toast or whatever it is, like it's because the first memory you have of like your mother burning the toast or whatever was a funny memory, or you guys had fun. And so you think of it as like a good thing every time you smell it. Yet you don't think, you think you have choice over that. You really kind of don't.
Right.
Unless you kind of learn where things came from. And that's why Buddhists meditate, right? Is to kind of find where the source material is. Because say you had a corrupted picture, I'm not an IT guy, but if you had like a corrupted thing on your computer and it was like in a bunch of mass, if it was masked behind a bunch of shit, you have to find the source before you can actually fix it, right? So it's like, I guess, I don't know IT guys.
But you're right.
It's kind of like that, I guess. But I mean, that's kind of, so really, if you think about it, we don't even control our conscious thoughts either.
That's interesting. It's very interesting. It would definitely the subconscious clearly influences conscious thought. So yeah,
and all of it.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I mean, and that's why you can choose to like learn to enjoy things. People say, just learn to enjoy working out, right? And which most people scoff at that thought. It's a fucking thing. It's a fucking thing. The moment you see a hot girl or guy at that gym and you start having a fun time going every time and you get to talk to that person, your brain's going to categorize, oh, fuck, gym equals wonderful thing, and then you're fucking hooked for the rest of your life. I mean, that's a fucking naive, a very childish way to explain it, but it's true.
Right. I think it makes sense. So I've got Paradox of Death queued up here. Do you want to try it?
Yeah, now I can stop talking. I did a pretty good job. A forever, right, guys?
Well, that's the thing. The funny thing is, we do these streams, and most of the time it's just we're talking about music, we're talking about other artists about music or whatever. But when Kilo and I are just hanging out, we talk about crazy shit like this all the time. So this is fun.
Yes.
All right. So what I can't do, because Zoom is weird. I can't monitor this. I can't hear it.
Right.
So I'm gonna press.
I can hear it.
I'm gonna press play, and I'm gonna turn the last time I think it was like the volume was the issue because I couldn't monitor the volume. So I'm gonna have it real low and then gradually turn it up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. So let's do that. Okay. Well, it's working on it.
We hear nothing.
Okay. Should be starting. You hear it?
Nothing.
No. Okay.
0% chance of brain stay. 0% chance of listening to the song right now.
You don't hear it now?
Nope.
What the hell? No, you got it. That's crazy. Oh shit. I know what I'm doing wrong. Sorry. I didn't switch
I'm glad that we still don't know. Would you like to share?
Yes. On Zoom, on my software here, my audio, I have to change the audio input. So it was on my microphone, not on. So what I have to do is tell it not to be the microphone, right? And then you're not going to hear me, but you'll hear the music. So I'm going to do that now.
Go like this, and then
Goodbye.
I'll go.
Yes. All right.
We heard one note. Oh, there we go. It sounds better.
A lot of people are afraid that when they die, they're going to be locked up in a dark room forever. Because in order to understand what the self is, you have to remember with everlasting non-existence. Try and imagine what it will be like to go to sleep and never wake up. And if you think long enough about it, if I pose the next question to you, what was it like to wake up after having never gone to sleep? Never gone to sleep. Nature abhors the vacuum. After people die, other people are born. know that very well. Only you can only experience it one at a time. Everybody is I. You all know you're you.
You have no idea
And
how.
wheresoever beings exist throughout all galaxies, it doesn't make any difference. You are all of them.
The sound is cutting out. Oh no. I'm not sure why. It's like fuzzy. Oh, now it's gone. Now it's over. He killed it again. Oh, kind of. No, we can't hear it. We just hear like you hearing it, I think. It's okay. They got to hear some of it.
All right, I'm back now.
Oh, yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. That's so funny. Yeah, I was listening because I was like, because I can't hear it. I can't hear
Right.
it when you're hearing it. So
Right.
I brought it up on Twitter, and I was like,
There's
listening
a lag
Twitter.
on Twitter,
Yeah,
right?
it was like
So
30 seconds.
funny. It's so funny because you're like doing the part.
rocking out.
before- I know. You're like rocking out on what you're hearing.
Yeah, no, I was
That's
like
not
30
what
seconds
I
off.
would. Oh, maybe I was the one hearing it at a lag. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's part of the song. Good job.
Yeah, so that is Paradox of Death, or most of it, or a good chunk of it. And we should probably say who Alan Watts is. Most people probably don't know, or if they don't, if they
Oh, come on, bro.
I don't know.
live in a world where people don't know who Alan Watts
can't,
is. bro.
you can't, we can't hear you when you lean forward like that, by the way.
Good. I don't. I don't want to live in a world where people don't know who Alan Watts is, bro.
Well, then let's tell them so that we can live in a world that you approve of.
That's
Alan-
a good idea.
There you go. Alan Watts was an English philosopher and translator. He was most probably of the, especially when I started kind of getting into philosophy, and especially Buddhism and the like, Zen Buddhism and Taoism. A lot of the books I read, this is like the 80s and 90s, were all translated by Alan Watts. Like literally, the guy translated, like, because he would take all these old ancient, like 10,000-year-old texts in, you know, Buddhist and especially Taoist. He would do Zen Buddhism and a lot of Taoism too, and he would translate them from the original Chinese into English, and that's how we know a lot of the stuff in the West, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's a very cool dude, and he was not just a translator; he was a brilliant philosopher himself, and used to speak and do all kinds of things. And he was
Yeah.
so anyway, that's him talking in the song.
Yeah, it's great. And it's decently hard to use that audio because it's like, oh, we have another song with him in it coming out as well. But anyways, sorry, I just totally
We have another
realized
song
that.
with
Yeah,
Alan Watson.
Fluke.
Oh, geez, Fluke.
Anyways, that's
Fluke.
that's how many releases we have.
I forgot about Fluke.
But,
Fluke is awesome. It's one of my
It's
favorites.
kind of hard to work with that audio because it's so old. So there's like background noise and people coughing and
Yep.
like planes flying overhead that you can hear, surprisingly.
And it was recorded 50 years ago.
That's
I mean,
my point.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And what's cool though is how influential that man is. Because
Yeah.
my dad is a generation of before you, right?
Mhm.
And my dad took a year off of, like, I think he said a year. I don't know. If I'm misquoting you, Dad, don't come to my house mad. But he took a year off of college and to read books and take a break, and he like read all of Alan Watts' shit, and then you read all of it, and
Mhm.
then I didn't learn to read ever, so I watched it all on YouTube. No.
False.
Yeah, ever, never, ever. What are words? I don't know. But
Absolutely not true.
no, it's all the way true. But I am I'm in my generation, but I found Buddhism and stuff listening to Alan Watts on YouTube, and like, so it's like he influenced an entire like group
Multiple
of
generations.
generation.
No, yeah,
like,
multiple.
to the
Yeah.
point where like whoever the youngest person listening right now, is they're probably going to go be like, this shit is going to be stupid.
What
And
would
then-
what would be the young people now? What would be their? So we were talking about this the other day. What generation we are? So your dad would be a baby boomer.
Yeah.
I'm a Gen Xer because I'm born in 1970. You're a millennial,
Yeah.
right? Is millennial the same as Generation Y? Or is there no generation?
Why are you asking, Bob?
I don't know. I'm just trying to. I'm trying
No,
to.
that was a joke. Whatever. He
Why?
didn't
Why?
get
I
at
get
all.
it. Yeah, like Abbott
Oh,
and
he did
Costello.
get it. He
Who's
was
yeah? Who's on first? And,
making
yeah.
me feel bad. I get it. No,
Yeah.
but that was my attempt at a dad joke, so I better never
You see.
father a child because it was horrible.
Well,
Didn't even
that's
get
what dad
single
jokes are
laugh.
supposed to be. They're supposed to be
Oh,
horrible.
I like
As a dad,
jokes.
I can tell you that is what
I
they're.
think dad jokes are great because it's like trying to embarrass your child as much as physically possible by saying the dumbest thing you can think of.
My buddy Todd, my like oldest friend in the world. I've known him since I was 5, and he's a bass player. He's the bass player on basically anything any music I've made over the years that I didn't play bass on myself. Todd played on, and he's just a great guy.
My
And
bass player's dead. Okay, anyways, keep
I know.
telling me.
Well, Todd is not. Todd is very much alive, and
Todd is not dead.
he is the dad joke guy. I mean, when he was 15 years old, he was telling dad jokes. That's all he
That's
tells.
right.
He's got like the same 10 jokes. He's been telling them for 100 years. They're all terrible.
Aren't they kind of like lo-fi music though nowadays? Like where like dad jokes are almost like cool to tell.
Recycle them, put them through a filter, and
Yeah, like lo-fi music is shitty on purpose. But even like back when I was a kid, if music sounded that shitty, I would just not.
yeah,
I'd
right.
just
That's
be
a
like,
good
well,
point.
cool. Like you didn't do anything to this.
Yeah.
You know,
And
but now it's cool.
Now
So
we try to
maybe
make
dad
music sound
jokes.
like that.
Maybe
Yeah.
dad jokes are like the in thing now. You
I
never
think
know.
maybe they are. A
But
couple of
you're-
years ago, the dad bod was in, right? The slightly
Oh, yeah, no, I'm
slightly
pretty sure
fat
that's
man.
A thing still. I've been trying. I eat a lot of food.
I don't
worry.
although I'm a dad, I don't really have the dad bod. You guys can't, I'm pretty skinny. I'm not super skinny, but I'm not fat. So I
Right.
wouldn't say dad bod.
No, definitely not.
Aging adolescent bod. This is more likely.
You look like you're like super young, bro.
I am
My
so not.
friend thought you were like 30.
That's so funny. I
He
am
was
definitely
like,
not.
Bob's not 52 and or 50 or however old you are. I didn't
got-
pay attention to how old you were because I think you're lying to me.
I got
I have gray hair too when I don't have this happening to my head. I really do. On the side, just like you pointed, I have graying hair here where I have no hair. I could
Wow.
pretend to say I cut it off so I don't have gray
What
hair.
is
but
what
I'm not.
color is your hair actually? Your natural
Whatever
hair color?
It's this.
But down at the bottom there, the roots. Okay, gotcha.
I don't
Right
do
on.
that much to my hair, Bob. I don't dye one
No.
part and bleach the other part. That would be
I don't know. Man.
wholeheartedly too much work for me.
I don't know
That's
what
why I
you
like
do.
bleaching my hair because you don't have to like re-dye it. Like you can't really wash bleached hair out of your hair.
Doesn't it
great.
like kill your hair though? Isn't it really? Doesn't it like just to dry it out? And I mean, your hair looks great, so
Paradox
probably
of
not.
death, man. Paradox of death.
Hair
Exactly.
doesn't
That's
die.
the true meaning of the song.
Hair never dies.
Right. It's just reborn into whatever this is.
That's great.
No, but anyways, what we were talking about before we got on is just how influential Alan Watts was and how much
Yeah.
it was a real blessing that he ever existed at all
Yep.
or gave us the audio, or if there's some foundation, I think, that turned all of it into like audio that can go on the internet. I subscribe to them on YouTube,
Yeah.
but that is also where we get all of our Alan Watts things put
Right.
in songs. So yeah, and if you go to like the YouTubes that have his stuff, you can listen to like 8 hours and not even listen to like a teeny tiny
Yeah,
speck
yeah.
of what it is.
I saw an interview with his daughter one time on YouTube, because you watch something and then all the suggestions come up. So it's like I watch Alan, watch a video, and then here's an interview with his daughter, and apparently she was no big fan, and and she said he was a big drunk, and he was like during most of those famous recorded speeches he was drunk. That's what she said.
Well, I mean, I would not put that past him.
Yeah, no, I don't. I mean, I don't. Okay, I mean, I was a
mean,
drunk
didn't he
for
die
years
of
and years.
being,
So
like poisoning himself with alcohol.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah.
Alan Watts death. Alan Watts.
What we're telling you guys is you can be a big drunk your whole life and still influence the world in a good way.
I was a big drunk for a
Clearly.
good. I was a big drunk for a good chunk of my life, but
Exactly.
I didn't influence the world all that much. I don't think.
Not yet. You're not dead, Tupac.
I'm not dead. I'm not a drunk anymore either. So he died. So how did he die? I'm looking at Wikipedia right now. By the way, I'm not just like kind of. Kilo pointed
You're
out that
talking
sometimes
to
I look.
someone on the other side of the room. It's very bright, like this
Yeah.
time.
I have two computers monitors. So I've got the monitor here and I got one over here where I can look stuff up. So it says that friends of Watts have been concerned about him for some time over his alcoholism. In other words, he died, blah, blah, blah. It was reported to have been under treatment for a heart condition before authorities could have his body removed from the home, cremated. So anyway, yeah, he was a big drunk. Died probably of a heart attack, but they didn't do an autopsy, I guess, because they cremated him too fast, which that's kind of shady, you know.
That's just strange.
Oh yeah, his son Mark Watts investigated his death and found that his father had planned his own passing meticulously. His ashes were split. He planned it.
So
My
we
father
don't even
died
know
to
if he
all of
really
us very
died.
unexpectedly, but not to himself. And there were questions raised about his passing as to what had happened in particular. So yeah, it's very mysterious how Alan Watts died. He was a big drunk. He possibly died of a heart attack or being an alcoholic, or he planned his own death according to his son and maybe killed himself.
Or he never died and they just cremated a different body.
Ooh. Well,
We're
well,
not
that's the
going
thing.
there.
You know, I think it's appropriate though that when we're releasing a song about death, the paradox of death,
Yeah.
inspired by Alan Watts, that we are talking about his death. And he would say, and he, as he does in your song, that, you know, he doesn't really die. So to your point, he never really
Right.
died. That I think it's kind of appropriate that his death is mysterious, honestly, because, you know,
Right.
who knows, right?
Exactly. Because, yeah.
Anyway,
I
he was a
think
cool
that's
dude.
Exactly how he would want it. Yeah. Despite what, I mean, I'm pretty sure everyone's loved ones sometimes say that they were shitty. I mean, I know I have loved ones.
Technically, all she really said was that he was a big drunk, and clearly that's true. So,
Right,
okay.
but was he a big drunk and like mean, or big drunk?
I don't think
and
so.
Was just drunk.
I don't think so. I don't
Very
recall her
different.
saying anything about that. She was just saying that people don't realize he was drunk all the time.
Oh no, we do realize that. I knew that, and I
Yeah.
never Wikipedia'd it.
Yeah. There you go.
I mean,
Anyway,
he talked about
we're
drinking and stuff.
We're once again on a bizarre tangent.
Okay. Yes, we are.
Well, I lost you. So I couldn't hear you. You leaned back and I couldn't hear what you said.
What?
That's just, now you're just playing a game.
I know.
Anyway, so Paradox of Death in roughly 1 hour on the East Coast.
Yeah.
And then next week, we've got Christian Cole releasing Blueface, which is something I'm very excited about. I really think
Yeah,
this
it's
song
gonna
is
be
something.
great.
And I think that he's something. I think that I think this is gonna be a good one, really.
Yeah.
So we'll have the video next week. We'll have Christian on the show. We'll have the song playing. It's going to be a good time. We'll actually, I think we could just play the video, right?
Play the video, yeah.
Yeah, we'll figure that out. I'm gonna figure that out. We'll do a live stream and then we'll say, okay, here we go. Here's the video, just like we did, but better.
Oh, yeah.
But better. Yeah. And then that'll be fun. And then on the same day, my song coming out. And oh, you know what? I should mention this too. Also next week, and I don't think you know this, Kilo, my cousin Chris Wise, who has been on the show, is I'll just recap real quick. Chris Wise is the bass player, a very, very successful, very talented, incredibly talented bass player. Currently a member of, right now he's on tour with Joe Perry, the guitar player from Aerosmith, is doing a solo tour, and Chris is his bass player. And then he's also Joe Perry and Chris are both members of the Hollywood Vampires, and they, of course, for COVID, kind of did nothing for a couple of years, just like everybody. but they're going back on tour as well next month. So that's next, I think in 2023. So beginning of next year, they're going to be touring Europe and stuff. But anyway, the reason I bring him up is Chris has his first solo song coming out next Friday as well. So I think we'll be talking about that too. We'll crank that up a little bit. Yeah. So yeah.
Next week will be fun.
Yeah, because Chris has a band called Owl he's had for 20 years. And but I think his new stuff he's just releasing is Chris Wise. It's not Owl. It's Owl was really his solo project, but he had two guys that played with him, and they, it was a band. Chris was writing everything, but there was a guitar player doing his thing and the drummer. This is like Chris directing the whole thing. He's writing the songs, he's directing the artwork, he's in charge of the whole thing. And of course, writing everything and playing a lot of the instruments and singing. So it's very exciting. So that'll be fun.
Yeah, it'll be great. Don't miss it. It'll be a very fun week next week. It won't be me rambling about paradoxes of death.
Well, it might be.
Probably. It always is. It always ends up there somehow, right?
But we'll have at least one more person with us, and maybe Chris is good. I think he's in Brazil or something. So I don't know if he'll be available, but we'll see if we can get Chris on too. I'm not going to promise anything. I haven't mentioned it to him yet. Yeah, I haven't mentioned it to him. But I will talk about a song anyway.
But like always, we do still need to remember to end the show with the random question.
Oh, the questions.
And the music question.
Yeah,
like
I suppose we do need to end the show. I forgot about that. So yes, so
sorry. I thought you were ending the show, and I wanted to catch you before you almost said bye.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Do you have a question? Because I don't. I'm gonna think of one right now.
Yes. What is one of your favorite things you okay, sorry. What is something that you heard Alan Watts say in a Alan Watts thing, and then thought about, and then you're like, yeah, I think I believe that, and either applied it to your own life, or like tried to apply it to your life, or didn't apply it, and then you found out you were a dumbass?
Well, I would say that I think that I guess the simple answer would be I don't have an answer to that question. The reason I say that is because what Alan Watts is always talking about is, his interpretation of Buddhism, Zen Buddhism, and to a lesser degree, Taoism and other Eastern philosophies. These are things I've studied, my whole life. So he doesn't say things that surprise me. I don't really, but he helps me understand, I've understood things much better after listening to him talk about them. You know what I'm saying? So the concept of like, the Buddhist, truths and all that stuff.
A favorite thing, then. Never mind the rest of the question. Just one of your favorite things he talks about. For the listeners who have not studied like you, the Eastern religions, what's one thing? Okay, third iteration of the question. What's one thing you learned from Alan Watts that you would love the listeners to think about?
Well, I'll tell you this. Yeah, how I relate these things to my life and why I care about them and why I ever started reading about Taoism and Zen Buddhism is, for kind of as a self kind of medicinal healing purposes. I got a crazy brain. So, the whole notion is that idea of like, in the modern world, in our Western world, we call it living in the moment, or what's the popular kind of term for it? Not wellness. And anyway, there's a mindfulness. Well, we'll call it, in our modern world, we call it, in the US, we call it mindfulness, but really that's Zen. It's Zen. It's existing,
right?
Knowing where you are and being there, not just physically, but, having your mind be present in the present. That's hard for me because I'm severely ADHD. So that's been the draw. That's the reason I've studied this whole time, is because it helps me function. I can get back to, okay, this is what actually matters. And I do it constantly. So that's really the whole deal for me. And Alan Watts has just explained that to me many times over the years, like how to remember to be present, so that's it. That's the idea.
Cool.
What about you?
Luckily, you talked long enough that I could think of one to talk about because I couldn't. At first I was gonna just say any of them and all of it, and it wouldn't help anyone if I said that because then they just have to go listen to everything. But the one of the things that has helped. Fuck, I just forgot what I was gonna say. This happens on our show most often
Yes,
with
yeah.
guests, but it
You got
actually
it.
happened this time, and I kept trying to keep talking to remember, but I did it. I get the prize this week because
There you
I
go.
did it.
Right on.
Fuck, what was I gonna say? Oh, I remember now that I went into that. When he talks about like how like um anything we do for enlightenment or salvation in this world, like
Mhm.
that's us doing it for us to feel like we deserve something that we already have, right? Which in Christianity, like obviously that would make sense to like know that because if Jesus died for your sins, then go sin as fucking much as you want because he already died for them. Like go do whatever you want. But it's a
That is a
little
very
harder.
interesting interpretation, but yeah.
No, but point being, it's a little
Mhm.
harder for people who think they need enlightenment or whatever because like it's like you feel like it's something outside of you, but really it's just you inside you being inside you
That's
without
right.
without it's I've never even thought of it that way, but it's
Mhm.
literally just existing and you
That's
don't
right.
need to do anything for it. And that's why you never fucking get it. If
Yeah.
someone's listening right now, maybe I help them. But it's
Mhm.
like you chase after this thing that already is
You're looking
with you.
outside, like where in the universe do I find enlightenment? How do I get
Right.
to nirvana? And it's not a place, it's not a thing. It's just, it's not a whole lot. You're not saying anything a whole lot different than what I'm saying, which is basically
Right.
learning how to live in our own brains,
Right,
learning how to
right.
be
But
ourselves.
I'm saying what he did say that I thought was crazy until I realized how right he was like we do all this stuff like meditating all the time or like praying all the time or something to try to get this thing, right? I guess sinning wasn't the right part of the Christian religion. It
No,
was
I
more
think I
prayer,
understood what you're saying. Yeah, I got you.
but it's like once I started realizing that, like I do feel enlightenment in moments because it's like I don't just chase after it. So meaning when you're in a bad mood, it's okay. When you're having a bad day, it's okay. And then if any of you have heard our show ever, you know that I will say like life is shit.
Yeah.
But then I say it with a smile and I'm a very happy person. So
Hey,
it's like
and
that's
the
what
Buddha
I'm
said
talking about.
life is suffering, right? That's the idea.
Right.
And
Right.
it's not really about like you suffer all the time. It
Right.
is the challenge of being human, right?
Right.
Is to find yourself, find enlightenment, find peace and
Right.
wisdom within the suffering, right? Like and instead of the suffering,
And the
So.
time when what Alan Watts said that made this make sense to me, because at first I was like, you're wrong. But then like, because I always say that to everyone, but what he talked about was like, um, think about a guru, like in India or whatever, like the guru has you go, pick the oranges off the tree. And then he says, okay, done with that. Okay, go wash my car, whatever he has you do. And
Mhm.
he said, like, you're doing that for your own sake. And he'll send you out over and over and over again until you realize like there's nothing you can do to have something you already have. So what's he gonna do for you other than make you realize that? So
That's cool.
that's what really made it click in my brain of like, oh
I like
shit,
that.
like I don't need to do anything, type
Mhm.
thing. So anyways, your turn for a question, bro.
Okay. Oh, so this is not, I'm not supposed to be asking a music question right now.
Why don't you just ask the music question and then
There you
we'll
go.
just
And well,
there you
that'll
go.
be it. That's a good
Well,
idea.
bam. Good
There
job.
you go. Well, this is a continuation of a conversation that you and I were having before we went live, right? So, and my question, you already know my answer to my question, but my question is, what piece of gear is that you own was really cheap and is really good? Or just cheaper than you would expect it to be, I'll answer first to give people an example of what I'm talking
Okay.
about. We were
Yeah.
talking about this microphone that I'm talking to right now, and this is a condenser mic. It's a really nice mic. It was also dirt cheap. It was $100, which is
Right.
crazy cheap for a mic like this. And my friend Mark Fuller, who's a Grammy-winning engineer, he engineered a couple songs on Kanye West's debut album. Jesus Walks won a Grammy, the best rap album of the year. Mark's got this plaque on his studio wall saying he Grammy-winning engineer. Anyway, my friend Mark is a brilliant engineer, and I had a broken microphone, and I said I need a condenser mic, and I don't want to spend $1,000 on one because I don't have $1,000. So what do? He said buy this one, and it's an MXL. Never heard of the company. Don't know anything about them.
I mix and master all of Bob's vocals, and
Right.
It is a great mic.
Yeah, I recorded everything with this mic.
Absolutely.
So and it was $100, and I bought it 10 years ago. So there you go. That's
Right.
my answer to my own
Perfect.
question.
Yeah, I guess the reason why I was having a hard time looking around was like I don't use a lot of gear, but I'm going to talk about 2 different plugins that are not expensive plugins that I use. If you don't know what a plugin is, guys, it's parts of the computer, like extra things you can like buy to use in your DAW or computer program that
Right.
you make music with. So first is in the Invisible Limiter, which is just wonderful. I don't even know who makes that. I'm going to look just in case someone is listening that wants to buy one. It's really good. It's super cheap. I don't remember exactly how much, but I remember going, what for this? Let's see, who makes this? I think that says AOM. AOM is the company, I guess. Yeah. So I don't even know if I have anything else by them, but that is the limiter I use on all of on the tracks once they're done, like the master chain. This
Mhm.
is the only limiter I will put at the end of a master chain because you
That's
can
awesome.
crank it up all the way as loud as you really want it, and it still won't give a distorted.
That's why it's
sound.
invisible.
Well, I assume they did that on purpose,
Right,
Yeah.
right.
or it's invisible to the people that should be buying it because no one uses it. I don't know, but also I think this is one more people will know about, which is Valhalla Room Reverb. I think is the best reverb out there. And yeah, for a long time I used one I was given, so I thought it was like super expensive. And then when I bought it finally, because I didn't want to not buy it, I realized it's really not that expensive for reverb. It's actually decently priced and it's very good. It's on every single channel except for like the bass or the kick drum. Of everything we do, it has both of those 2 things on it.
That's awesome.
There you go, guys.
There you go.
Do
All
with
right.
it what you want. Yeah.
All right. So I guess that brings us to the end of our program. And but the main thing that we want to take away from this is that Kilo, I always point the wrong way because I look over here, but then I watch the video back and I'm like,
On my video, I am on the side you point to. On
so
my
am I
screen-
pointing to you right now?
Right now to my screen, you are.
Okay. But see, when we play this back, I swear to God, I'll be pointing over there. It doesn't make any sense.
Okay.
Anyway, Kilo,
Wonderful, whatever.
Kilo has a new song coming out in less than an hour on the East Coast and less than 3 hours on the West Coast. It's called Paradox of Death. Go to Kilo House on Spotify or Apple Music or anywhere else that you listen to music. And we'll post this, we're going to be, you'll see the thing posted all over the internet. If you follow
Yeah.
either Kilo or myself or the House of Static, we'll be posting all, for all week long. And then next week we'll be doing the next one. So there you go.
Yeah, and we'll be probably doing more live streams this season than we did last because
Yeah.
we have
'cause
so
it's fun.
much new shit. It's just gonna keep going and going. We have, I guess it's a cover, not a remix of "Wake
Mhm.
Me Up"
Yep.
with me and Bob and Christian.
Oh, I didn't know you were
Paul.
telling anybody about that. You just said that. I didn't
We
know
talked
that.
ab- We
I-
talked about it on here before.
Have we? Oh, I don't know. I don't remember things.
This
Oh.
is okay.
I
This
don't
is
remember
why I'm
anything.
even here, guys, because
Who
I don't
are
remember
you?
something.
Where am I?
I
What
think
is
he's
this
older
place?
than he thinks he is, bro.
Oh,
Okay, never mind what I just said.
Anyway, no, yeah. So Wake Me Up's coming out. We got the remix coming out. We got tons of King Matt Black stuff, tons of Kilo stuff. We got more of my stuff, all kinds of songs coming out. So it's very exciting. And Christian Cole. So there you go. It'll be fun. And we'll just have to keep apologizing to our friends who we have a couple of recorded episodes that will air in the coming weeks.
We did
our
not
friends
know all of this would be happening. But
exactly. But we do have Guilherme Cosme will be coming, and we've got Cash Boy Campton going to be on. We got some great episodes recorded, but we've just got these live streams we got to do when the songs come out.
When we have stuff coming out.
That's right.
And remember, this is going to be a bummer, but whatever. Remember, guys, there's still a war happening in Ukraine. So whatever you can do to help, I don't know what it is. We make music and try to help. Whatever it is, go do whatever you're part of. Whatever.
That's right, man. Right on.
Sorry, didn't try to end it.
No, perfect. I think that's a great. And you got there's a Ukraine flag behind you, so I think that's very appropriate. And I'm glad you said that. So thank you.
All right, guys. Well, we will talk to you next week with Christian Cole and all of the fun.
Adios.